Time now to turn to the day's business news. Stephen Carroll joins us on set for that. Stephen, I'm going to start in the United States, where chances of a fresh economic stimulus package look even slimmer.
So after the confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court, the US Senate is now finished up until after next week's election. It's not due to sit again until November 9th, which means that nothing can be passed before then. Now, House Leader Nancy Pelosi had said earlier on Monday that she was still optimistic a deal could be done. She's been discussing a plan with Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, which would include another round of cash payouts to Americans, reinstating extended benefits for those workers who'd been laid off, plus more money for schools, among other things. But any deal reached between Democrats and the White House still faces stiff opposition from Republicans, who control the Senate and who are now heading out on the campaign trail.
I imagine this isn't exactly going down well on the markets.
No, markets like stimulus plans, as we know, and this is adding, of course, to the worries over the increased cases of COVID-19. We've seen a slump on the markets on Monday. This is the picture at the open of the European markets, just for fun. It's in French today. The open of the European markets today, as you can see, things still trading down in Paris and in London. Frankfurt, they're seeing some small gains. Investors seeing a couple of bright spots from some corporate results out today. BP reporting a small underlying profit in the third quarter. That's helping to boost the oil company's shares. They were up around 2% a couple of minutes ago. On the Asian markets, things largely trading in the red. Reassuringly, this is in English. The Asian markets trading largely in the red earlier. Hong Kong down around by about 0.5%. HSBC, the bank, reporting today as well. Good news for its investors. Shares in HSBC in Hong Kong up by 4.5%. That's after it reported a less severe slump in profits than expected, which is what accounts for good news these days.
I was going to say it's all become so relative. Less severe is now doing very well. Despite the pandemic, though, Stephen, the business world does keep turning, and a Chinese company looks set to break records with its stock market launch.
This is the Ant Group. It's a financial technology titan in China. It runs the Alipay system, which is widely used for payments online and in shops. It has more than 730 million monthly active users, more than double that of PayPal. The company was spun off from another Chinese tech giant, Alibaba. It's majority owned by the country's richest man, Jack Ma. It's now on track for the biggest stock market launch ever, in a dual listing in Hong Kong and Shanghai next week. Its initial public offering of shares will fetch more than $34 billion. That dwarfs what its former parent company Alibaba raised, and to the massive IPO of Saudi Aramco, the oil company, last year. It's also set to boost Jack Ma's net worth close to $80 billion.
Staggering figures, Stephen. Meanwhile, here in France, in the lower parliament, they voted in favour of a €100 billion economic stimulus plan.
This was the plan that was announced last month by the French government. It includes money to extend the government furlough scheme, plus additional help for the aviation, motor and hospitality industries. But with new curfew measures affecting the majority of France, the finance minister has warned the French economy will shrink again in the last 3 months of the year. The bill for this stimulus plan now goes to the Senate. The tourism industry has been one of those leaning heavily on the government for help. The extended curfew measures, more bad news for the sector, which was hoping for a boost in business during the school holidays. Camille Nedelec has the story.
Half-term holidays in the south of France are looking somewhat different this year. Foreign tourists have all but disappeared, and this family from eastern France will have to holiday under curfew. They'd been hoping for a bit of normality.
On avait choisi cet endroit spécifiquement parce qu'il n'y avait pas de couvre-feu. Et puis le couvre-feu est arrivé et dans notre région et ici. Et on a quand même décidé de maintenir les vacances pour prendre l'air, effectivement, pour en profiter.
Visits to local museums are in, but eating out for dinner is off the table, and the family are readjusting their holiday budget accordingly.
On se fait peut-être plus plaisir sur le restaurant du midi, étant donné qu'il n'y en a pas le soir. Et puis, peut-être plus de sorties, sorties en voilier, des choses comme ça qu'on n'aurait peut-être pas faites.
Visitor numbers in the south of France have fallen from 12 million in previous years to just 6 million in 2020. And hotels are at just 30% occupancy over the French bank holiday on the 1st of November. Since the curfew was announced, they've lost 80 nights of reservations, and the manager is trying to keep costs down.
Nous avons décidé de fermer 2 étages afin de simplifier un petit peu la logistique de nos femmes de chambre.
All employees here are on a government furlough scheme.
Nous sommes en pleine période de congé, l'hôtel devrait être plein et c'est très frustrant d'avoir cet hôtel qui fonctionne au ralenti.
It's a record-breaking crisis for the area, with business slashed by almost half, resulting in 2.5 billion euros worth of losses.
Finally, Stephen, from you, one of the world's biggest delivery companies is preparing for a bumper festive season.
Yeah, we're talking about it already, but hey, it's 2020. Well, why not? DHL Express has
Wishing
hired
it away.
10,000 extra workers to handle what they're expecting to be record demand in the run-up to Christmas. The company forecasting a 50% increase in deliveries compared to last year. It's investing €1 billion in boosting its capacity as a result. That's on top of what's already been a booming year for e-commerce because of course, lockdown measures in many parts of the world. DHL says it's seen a growth of more than a third in e-commerce so far this year.
Every cloud. Stephen Carroll with the Business News, thanks a lot for that.